I've been kind of excited for Destiny 2 since before it was officially announced, and I'm honestly still pretty stoked. It released today or yesterday, depending on when this is going up, and I'm playing on PC, so I gotta wait a couple months, so I figured I'd write my thoughts about the beta. Cause I gotta say, Bungie didn't exactly pick the best activities for getting new people interested in this second game. And hey, I know that the purpose of a beta is to get some stress testing in and to check for bugs, but betas like this so close to launch are as much for marketing and hype building as they are for anything else. I also totally understand that Bungie can't just toss the fucking raid into the beta. It just wouldn't work right and it would spoil a lot of mechanics and stuff like that. So yeah, they need to be careful with what they allow people to check out, not just because finding new areas is a huge deal for the Destiny community, but also because learning how to work mechanics to your advantage is a pretty big deal. But here's the thing. During the beta, Destiny was still widely perceived as the disappointment it launched as in 2014, despite the crazy improvements made over the course of its 3-year life. Improvements that, as most players would say, turned it into an almost entirely different game. With Destiny 2, we've been seeing promises made and acted on and kinda delivered on during the last few months. Because of the state the first game is ending in, and how open the devs are being about Destiny 2, we kinda all but know that it's gonna start in a much better place than the first, as long as the track record keeps going. And if the reviews are anything to go by, Destiny 2 turned out pretty fucking great. But like I said, the Destiny 2 that we got to check out in the beta is bit generic. It simply doesn't showcase the things that make Destiny, and to a new player, it can very easily come off as just another shooter but with a loot game. A lot of my friends on PC actually finally got a chance to get their hands on Destiny with the beta, and while some of them had previously spent some time in the original on PS4, most of them had never actually played it before. Seeing these friends have meh reactions and seeing that they're gonna pass on Destiny 2 entirely because of what they played in the beta actually kinda sucks. And it's not at all that I don't understand why they feel that way. I mean, I totally get it. If this were my first exposure to the series, I have no doubts that I'd feel the exact same. It's just that I know, as someone who's experienced how great Destiny can be, that what we got to play through in the beta was, as I've said, not something that showcased what makes Destiny as good and fun as it is and can be. Destiny is about so much more than good shooties on kinda generic levels. It's about getting loot, it's about the raids that require insane amounts of communication. It's about solving puzzles with the game's mechanics and about learning how you're supposed to beat crazy bosses with no real hints. It's about strikes with fucking ridiculous modifiers, and it's about the puzzle-filled quests for exotic weapons that have you translating binary into a sequence of actions with people you grouped up with online for 2 hours only to realize that somebody, totally not me, was converting the numbers wrong, so you have to do it all over again. And it's about overcoming challenges with friends that you've had and making new ones along the way. What we got in the beta was content that only existing players would really get a kick out of. I can do the strike and I can say to myself, this is okay, but I know it'll be really fun with friends or looking for secrets or as a nightfall. Even though what we play through in the beta is really just kinda okay shooter levels with some really cool set pieces. I can play the PvP in the beta over and over again, even though it's just 2 game modes with 1 level each, and I can say to myself, god damn, I can't wait to shit on other players with my friends and gain gear and build my character. This is gonna be so sick! Even though what we're playing in the beta really isn't anything special, and even though it's definitely gonna be me getting totally shit on. I can enjoy what we get in the beta, and I can get excited for what's to come, because I understand that this is just a sample. I know there's way more to Destiny than what we got to see, but new players? This is their first real exposure to what Destiny became over the last 3 years, and there's a lot that they're missing out on. To most of my friends, this beta has been a short, kinda okay, and pretty generic experience, mostly because they simply haven't seen or experienced the things that actually make Destiny shine, and because of this meh experience, they got turned off from the full game. The fact that the most important parts of Destiny are missing from the beta makes it a pretty awful sell for people checking out the series for the first time. Making this beta more interesting wouldn't really have been too difficult. You just need to add some stuff to give new players a better taste of what they can actually expect. So, hey, here are some ideas. And let me just say, I'm not trying to sit here and just go, gee, I wish this had been in the beta. I mean, I guess that's actually exactly what I'm doing, but it's not because I just want more to play before the game launches. It's because I feel that people deserved a much better idea of what they'll actually get with Destiny 2. I'm also not saying these all need to be in the beta. I'm just throwing out a few ideas of some things Bungie could have included that would have done a better job at showing off their game. And I guess in part I'm also trying to tell potential new players to not dismiss Destiny 2 entirely. I mean, it just came out, so listen to what I have to say, check out a few reviews, and if you're on PC, keep an eye out for the next fucking month and a half before we get to play it. God damn, that's a long time. So without further ado, let's get to the nitty-gritty. So, Destiny's an RPG of sorts, you know, you could say that. You build your character by unlocking abilities for your class and your weapons, and then you tune your playstyle based on what you have available and what you want. You grind to improve the gear that you like, or to get a weapon that you heard about that sounds kind of fun. Being unable to experience any kind of real character growth takes a huge chunk of substance out of Destiny. It would have been cool to get a choice when you pick your class, to either play with the scratch character with no levels and base gear, or to play with the leveled up pre-mades that we got. There would need to be a bit more loot added into the beta to take levels into account and to allow for actual growth, but new players being able to actually experience real rewards and not just meaningless side grades of varying weapon types would have helped them understand some of the point and feeling behind Destiny. The character building and development that's sorely lacking in the beta is one of the huge reasons the game feels so generic. You just hop in and you have this character and you kind of just have to learn everything that it does and you don't really get to grow with it. Then we have the Strike, the 3-man mission on Nessus that ends with you facing off against a huge Vex bastard. The thing about strikes is that the normal versions are typically nothing to write home about. The first time you play through them, they're pretty cool because they have some great set pieces, but most of the time that you spend in strikes is going to be in the harder difficulties, and I imagine Bungie would be hard-pressed to get rid of something as big a keystone to the mid and end games as hard as fuck Nightfall versions of strikes, so having the option to play through the strike in the beta with at least a few modifiers would have added a lot to the experience by giving players a reason to group up and really put their skills to the test. They also could have shown off a couple of new modifiers, which would have been great, and we would have seen people trying to make groups to beat the fucking thing because Nightfalls don't have matchmaking. In the original Destiny beta, we had a small section to patrol on Earth, and patrols are a huge part of the full-on Destiny experience. Large environments with a few different areas, a bunch of enemies, and beacons that give you missions. Something as simple as a small sample section of a patrol that you could run around with friends, shooting a bunch of dudes, would have been the perfect way to showcase this little facet of what makes Destiny itself. I wouldn't have complained if they'd thrown in a lost sector, but they really don't need to go that far. Just give us a small, kind of structureless open world to run around in with friends. Lastly, Destiny is really best played with friends or people that you know. Sure, you can play it solo, but PvP can be a pain in the ass alone, and the best PvE content requires communication. The community built multiple features online for finding groups to do whatever kind of activity you wanted, and in Destiny 2 they kinda answered this with their own system. Playing alone is, well, not where the game shines. Adding in a little message that lets new players to the beta know that they should try to play with friends, or even giving a shout out to some of the community tools that were made, would at least have given new players a heads up to at least try and find a pal or two to play with. Even though the content isn't really content that requires your friends, it would have made it worlds better. I really am incredibly excited for what's to come with Destiny 2. I think Bungie has proven over the life of Destiny that they've learned how to make something fucking incredible with this new system that they're experimenting with to this day, and I think that they know exactly what to do to please the existing fan base, but I'm worried that they won't be able to bring in new players, or at least not as many as they could. And I'm worried that what was presented in the beta will turn more away than it'll entice. It's entirely possible that this second installation in the series ends up totally shit, but I'd like to think that it won't, and only time will really tell. What are your thoughts from the beta? What do you think they could have done better, and what did they do really well? Are you already playing Destiny 2 because you're not waiting until fucking mid-October for the PC release? Let me know down in the comments. I'll see you next time. Bye!